Dear students, today we will go ahead with Module 5, which is related to automotive emission control systems and emission standards. Okay, as we know that when an automobile starts working or running, it is going to release some unwanted gases or the pollutants which are going to be harmful for the environment. So it is very much necessary to control the release of unwanted gases which are going to cause uh, major diseases to the human beings as well as the living things on the earth. Okay, so there are some standards which are going to be set by the government. As we are many of us we are aware that if you see an automobile, there will be a sticker attached, okay, right, the saying that pollution tested. So it is going to indicate that the emissions are under the control of the government norms. Okay, right. So we also have seen on buses or trucks BS4, BS3, BS5. Okay, it was introduced in European countries where Euro 1, Euro 2, Euro 3, Euro 4 were introduced, and now it is also mandatory in our country also, saying that Bharat stage 1, 2, 3, 4, like that they have started introducing the emission controls. Recently we also come across one more thing, that is like BS4 vehicles sale was up to March, up to the end of the March month only. Okay, after that the BS6 is introduced now. Okay, BS4 vehicles they have taken it back, or the sale is completed. Now whatever the vehicles are going to come into the market, all are with the BS6 standards. Okay, so now in today's this particular discussion we will learn about these emission controls. What are the various methods to control the emissions, which are the more pollutants going to be released when an automobile starts working or running. Okay, so today we'll start with the introduction of this particular automotive emission control systems and the emission standards. Okay, so introduction will be related to the purpose of emission control is to reduce amount of pollutants and environmentally damaging substances released by the vehicles. So the main purpose of emission control is to, we want to reduce the amount of pollutants which are going to be released by an automobile, so that there will be less damage to the environment, or less pollution will be there in the environment. So if it is not controlled, the automobile can emit a pollutants from fuel tank. So which are the areas from where the pollutants are going to come out, that they are mentioning it as. So the major pollutants which are going to release in an automobile from the parts of an automobile, that is fuel tank, carburetor, crankcase and exhaust system into the atmosphere. Okay, so the fuel tank and the carburetor emit gasoline vapors. Okay, so which are the pollutants? Like the fuel tank and the carburetor, it is going to release the gasoline vapors, whereas crankcase releases partly burnt air fuel mixture blown off by piston rings. Okay, so this is released by the partly burnt, as like the fuel mixture, the mixture is not completely burned, that type, especially in two-stroke engines. With this we find more. Okay, right. So emission will be more because unburnt fuel components are going to be released from the crankcase. Okay, so and pollutants from the exhaust system consists of partly burned this is from the exhaust system, from the exhaust valve it is connected to the exhaust pipe. Now from that, so these are the pollutants, which are this partly burned hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides and sulfur oxides. These are the pollutants which are going to release from the exhaust system. Okay, the smoke may be formed due to incomplete burning of fuel. The smoke may be formed because of incomplete burning. Complete burning of the mixture, if it is not taking, then the smoke is going to release. Smoke is like what is smoke means? It is particles of unburned fuel and soot called particles mixed with air. Soot means it is carbon deposit. Okay. It took many years for the public and the automotive industry to address the problem of these pollutants. So that is why it took many years to introduce this particular emission control systems into the yeah, by an automobile industries. So it is estimated that in USA above allow 200 million tons of man-made pollutants add to the air. So in USA itself there will be 200 million tons of man-made pollutants are going to release in an air. So therefore these pollutants, if not controlled, adversely affect our health. Okay, this we can understand. Okay, if you are not going to control the pollutants, obviously it is going to harm the human health as well as the living things. Okay, automobile manufacturers have been working towards reduction of automotive air pollutants when auto emissions were found to be part of the cause of smog. Okay, the emission of pollutants can be decreased by improving combustion efficiency. Okay, it can be reduced by various methods, that is by increasing the combustion efficiency, which in turn needs redesigning of the, which in turn it is going to related to the redesign of the fuel tank, carburetor, combustion chamber, cooling system, ignition and exhaust system. Okay, so the other way of controlling atmospheric pollution is destroy the pollutants after they have been formed. Okay, there is two methods of controlling the emission. One is precaution is better than the cure. Okay, before the pollutants are going to release into the atmosphere, you can have the control over the pollutants. That is one method. Next is, once if it is released in the atmosphere, then also it can be controlled. These are the two methods. Okay, obviously the first one will be more preferred, because it is going to, before it is releasing into the atmosphere, if you have control by controlling over the redesign of these fuel tank, carburetor and exhaust system, all those things, if you redesign it properly, obviously the emission control will be more. Okay, right. So next will be the emission of pollutants in automotives can be reduced by, okay, how what are the various methods through which we can control the the emission pollutants. One is closed crankcase ventilation. This is related to the crankcase. Okay, right. Fuel tank and carburetor ventilation. Okay, this is related to fuel tank and carburetor. And third will be redesigning the engine, that is combustion chamber, cooling system, fuel supply system and ignition system. Okay, we'll start with the first one, that is closed crankcase ventilation system, or it is called as controlling the crankcase emissions. Okay, right. So the system consists of two types. One is a positive crankcase ventilation, another one is a fixed orifice system. Okay, first begin with PCV, that is positive crankcase ventilation systems. When engine is running, some unburned fuel and combustion products leak past the piston rings and move into the crankcase. This leakage is called blow-by. Okay, so when the engine is running, the unburned fuel and the combustion products leak past through the piston rings and move into the crankcase. This leakage we called it as a blow-by. This blow-by must be removed from engine crankcase. So this blow-by must be removed from the engine crankcase. That is, unburnt fuel and combustion products can be removed from the crankcase before it condenses and reacts with oil to form sludge. Okay, so thick formation of grease type of things should not produce. Okay, right. So before that only we must remove all these unburnt fuel and the pollutants. Okay, which may corrodes and accelerates wear of piston. If it is coated in the crankcase, it is going to increase the wear rate of the piston, and it corrodes Okay, corrosion will be there for pistons, piston rings, valves, bearings. Okay, obviously it is going to damage all the components in the crankcase. So sludge can also clog oil lines. Okay, it is also create the oil line formation and starve the lubrication system. Okay, it is going to create the like resistance to the lubrication system. As the engine oil circulates, it also carries blow by and some unburned fuel particles. So when the engine oil starts like the cooling system, we had a discussion, when this engine oil starts circulating, okay, it also carries the blow by, that is unburnt fuel mixture, and some unburned fuel particles which are formed due to the incomplete combustion of air fuel mixture into the crankcase. So if it is not going to be removed, this dilutes the engine oil, and hence the oil does not lubricate the engine properly, resulting in excessive air. Okay, if it is not going to remove, so unburnt air fuel mixture, it is going to mix up with the engine oil, and the lubrication process is not going to be carried out properly. Okay, it is going to make the lubricant oil thin. Okay, right. Okay, so it is going to dilute the engine oil. Okay, next is like filtered air from the carburetor air clear must be circulated through the crankcase to remove blow-by gases. So filtered air, through air it can be removed from the crankcase, and gasoline vapors from the crankcase. To prevent atmospheric pollution, modern engines have a closed system called PCV system, that is positive crankcase ventilation system. Okay, the blow-by gases and gasoline vapors are picked up by filtered air to the engine inlet manifold. So the blow-by gases and gasoline vapors are picked up by filtered air to the engine inlet manifold through a special PCV valve, and from there enters into the engine combustion chamber with fresh charge and are burnt here. So please refer figure 9.1 where the schematic diagram of positive crankcase ventilation system is shown. So the PCV valve consists, okay, so how exactly it is going to work means, so the blow-by gases and the gasoline vapors are picked up by a filtered air to engine inlet manifold through a special PCV valve, using a special PCV valve, okay, that is positive crankcase valve and ventilation valve, and from there enters into the engine combustion chamber with fresh charge and are burnt there. Okay, so there will be air entering from the atmosphere, and there will be a PCV valve you are seeing in the figure 9.1. okay, so inlet manifold, engine crankcase and the carburetor. So what are the contents of this PCV valve is shown separately in the figure 9.2. The PCV valve consists of a spring-loaded tapered valve. It is a spring-loaded tapered valve which is shown in figure 9.2. So the valve is in closed position under the action of crankcase pressure. So the valve will be in the closed position when the crankcase pressure and manifold vacuum. Okay, whereas the spring pressure keeps the valve open, thereby regulate the flow of blow-by gases. When the blow-by gases are going to increase, it is going to open. Okay, during idle or deceleration, that is low speed, amount of blow-by gases is less due to lesser engine load. When the engine have a less load, that is when it is idly moving or in the deceleration motion, so the blow-by gases will be released less in the crankcase. So the high intake manifold vacuum moves the tapered valve against spring pressure. so thus provide small opening in the wall for the flow of blow-by gases. During part throttling or normal speed, engine load is higher than at idle. Okay, blow-by increases and manifold vacuum decreases. So the spring moves the tapered wall to increase the opening. So and the blow-by are going to increase and the manifold vacuum decreases. So the spring is going to open the PCV wall. The larger opening allows all the blow-by gases to enter into the intake manifold. So the larger opening of the PCV wall, it is going to allow the blow-by gases re-enter into the intake manifold. Okay, at high speeds or just refer figure 9.1 also. So the atmospheric air, it is going to be filtered and there is a pipeline through which it is going to send to the crankcase. In the crankcase where there is some unburned or blow-by gases will be there, that is going to be thrown because of this air filtered air pressure, and it is going to enter into the PC wall. So when the blow-by wall rate is going to increase, quantity of blow-by gases is going to increase, that time PC wall is going to open and it is going to resend the blow-by gases into the inlet manifold. This is how the PCV, that is a positive crankcase ventilation system, works along with the PC wall. So the larger opening allows all the blow-by gases to enter into the intake manifold. At high speeds or when the engine is operating under heavy load, the throttle valve opens widely and decreases intake manifold vacuum. The spring moves the tapered wall further downward to provide a larger opening through the valve. The amount of blow-by gases is more when engine load is high. Hence, the larger PC wall opening is essential to allow these gases to flow through the wall into the intake manifold. So next type will be the fixed orifice tube PC wall. Okay, that is the second type of closed crankcase ventilation. Some engines are not fitted with the PCV wall. The blow-by gases are routed into the intake manifold through a fixed orifice tube. There will be a fixed orifice tube through which the blow-by gases are going to be sent to the intake manifold. Okay, this system works similar to PCV wall. Except that the system is regulated only by the vacuum on the orifice. It is going to, there will be no filtered air mixture, okay, which is going to create the pressure on the blow-by gases as in case of PCV system, that is positive crankcase ventilation system. Okay, here there will be, because of the vacuum it is going to work. Okay, so the amount of blow-by gas flows into the intake manifold is limited by the size of the orifice. So there will be one drawback, that is it is going to be limited by the size of the orifice. Okay, next will be like controlling evaporative emissions. Okay, this so the fuel evaporative control system capture the gasoline vapors from the fuel tank and carburetor float bowel and prevents them from escaping into the atmosphere. Okay, so the fuel evaporative control system will be there, which is going to capture the gasoline vapors which are released after burning the air fuel mixture from the fuel tank and the carburetor float ball and prevents them from escaping into the direct escaping into the atmosphere. It is going to be captured by the fuel evaporative control system. Okay, this system is called by various names such as evaporative emission control, that is EEC, evaporative emission control. Next will be evaporative control systems, that is ECS, evaporative control systems. Next will be vehicle vapor recovery, that is VVR, vehicle vapor recovery, and vapor saver, that is a recovery system, VVS bar, VRS. Okay, since fuel injection system do not have a float ball, the ECS controls escape of fuel vapors from the fuel tank only. Okay, right. Vapor recovery system in carbureted engines. So how exactly it is going to work? So now we are moving towards the carburetor. From that also the fuel, the emissions are going to release. Okay. Vapor recovery system in carbureted engines. If the vehicle is not fitted with VRS, that is vapor saver, the gasoline vapors from the fuel tank and the carburetor escape into the atmosphere by evaporation or breathing. Okay, so if it is not fitted, okay, obviously all the vapor gasoline vapors, it is directly releasing into the atmosphere. The fuel tank breathes with change in temperature. So the fuel tank, there is a breathing system, or the evaporation is going to take place in the fuel tanks with the change in the temperature. As temperature increases, the air inside the tank expands and thus forced out through the either the filter cap vent or the tank vent tube. Okay, so either the filter cap vent or the, so this you might have experienced when you are filling the fuel in your two wheelers. So if you keep more time the fuel tank cap open, so gasoline vapors are going to release from the fuel. So that's why you are going to immediately, because it is going to emission, it is going to evaporate. Okay, right. So in a summer season, when you park your vehicle in a sunlight, okay, so the evaporation will be more. So when the temperature is going to increase, obviously the evaporation is going to increase. So more fuel is going to evaporate from the tank. Okay, this as temperature increases, the air inside the tank expands and thus forced out through the either the filter cap vent or tank vent tube. This air carries gasoline vapor. So this air carries gasoline vapor. When the temperature decreases, when the temperature is going to decrease, the air inside contracts. So the air inside contracts and hence outside air enters into the tank. So when the temperature is going to decrease, the air inside is going to contract and hence outside air enters into the tank. This breathing of tank causes loss of gasoline vapor and decreases it into discharges it into atmosphere. So the gasoline vapor is also escapes from carburetor float ball by evaporation. When engine is running, the carburetor float ball is full. When the engine stops, the heat of the engine evaporates some of or all of the gasoline stored in the float ball. The vapor recovery system reduces atmospheric pollution by preventing gasoline vapor to escape into the atmosphere. So all modern cars are fitted with VRS, that is vapor recovery system or vapor saver system. Okay, the layout of vapor recovery system is as shown in figure 9.3. Okay, the fuel tank and carburetor are vented to a carbon or charcoal canister. Carburetor and the engine fuel tank. Okay, carburetor and the fuel tank are vented to a carbon or charcoal canister. Okay, you see the diagram. Okay, the fuel tank is also going to be connected to the carbon or charcoal canister, and the carburetor vent valve is also connected to the this carbon canister. Instead of vented into the atmosphere. When the engine stops, fuel vapors from the tanks and float ball enters into a carbon or charcoal canister. When the vehicle is going to stop, okay, so whatever the gasoline vapors are going to be released from the tank, it is going to be sucked by the carbon canister. Okay, in the canister, the activated charcoal absorbs the vapor and stores it. Absorb means vapors are trapped by the sticking to the outside of the charcoal particles. When the engine starts, the gasoline vapor in the canister is picked up by fresh air flowing through it. Then air flows into gasoline in the engine intake manifold and becomes part of air fuel mixture entering the engine cylinders. Okay, this action of blow of fresh air to pick up tapped gasoline vapor from the canister is called purging. Okay, this action we call it as a purging. There is a purge control valve. Okay, right. The system also consists of a vapor liquid separator on the fuel tank. You are seeing in the figure, that is vapor liquid separator. This chamber separates vapor from the liquid gasoline, which in turn return to the tank. So it is going to separate the pollutants and the unburned good conditioned fuel. Then it is going to be sent back to the tank. Okay, mechanically separated vent valve or an electrically operated solenoid valve may be used to control flow of vapors from the fuel tank. So the mechanical valve is operated by the throttle linkage during idling. It is open and causes the vapor to flow from float chamber to canister. So the opening of throttle closes the vent valve. Likewise, the electrical vent valve is open when ignition is off. When the ignition is on, the vent valve is closed by energization of the solenoid. This is how the VRS works, that is vapor recovery system works. Next will be evaporative control system, that is ECS, for fuel injected engines. The fuel injection system do not have a float ball. There will be no float ball. Therefore, ECS controls escape of fuel vapor, okay, which is shown in figure 9.4. Okay, so ECS controls the escape of fuel vapor from the fuel tank only. So from the fuel tank only, the unburnt fuel mixture or gasoline vapors are going to be taken. The canister is connected to hose from the fuel tank. So the canister is going to be connected to the from the fuel tank itself. So you just observe, there is a diagram. Fuel tank is shown and it is going to be connected to the charcoal canister. Okay, the canister is connected to the hose from the fuel tank. The purge line from the canister is connected to the throttle body. Okay, the purge line is going to be connected to the throttle body. An electric plug purge control solenoid may be used instead of vacuum operated purge valve. There will be an electric purge control solenoid is going to be used. The solenoid valve may be fitted on the canister or in the purge line. It's fitted on the canister or in the purge line and is normally open, and it is normally in the open condition. Okay, this is how the the ECS is going to work. So now we had a discussion about the pollutants which are going to be released from the crankcase, how it is going to be controlled by redesigning of the crankcase. And we had also discussion about the carburetor and the fuel tank pollutants, how best we can control by using this VRS, that is vapor recovery system, and ECS, that is evaporative control system. Okay, next moving ahead to the last component in the automobile through which the pollutants are going to release, that is the exhaust gas system. So the cleaning the exhaust gases, like the automotive engines burns liquid fuel gasoline, which is a hydrocarbon, okay, that is SC, made up of hydrogen and carbon components. Okay, and that is gasoline and all, they are all hydrocarbons, we call them as hydrocarbons, that is SC. That is, one is hydrogen and the carbon components will be there. During complete combustion, gasoline produces water vapor and carbon dioxide, which are harmless to atmosphere. Okay. However, in automotive engines, combustion is never complete. Okay, in none of the automotive complete combustion of the fuel mixture is not going to take place. Okay. Some unburnt hydrocarbon, that is gasoline and carbon monoxide, formed due to incomplete combustion of gasoline, that's CO. Okay, right. And this hydrocarbon and nitrogen oxides formed due to high combustion temperature. So if even the combustion temperature is more than, and that NOx is going to release, that is nitrogen oxide, will remain in the exhaust gas. Therefore, combustion can be represented by, okay, how the chemical reactions will be shown when the combustion takes place in an automobile is Hc plus N, nitrogen plus oxide, it is going to give us CO2 plus H2O plus CO plus NOx plus Sc. These are the components which are going to release. The carbon monoxide, Sc and NOx causes air pollution. Out of these, the major pollutants will be, so carbon monoxide, that is CO, and hydrocarbon, that is Sc, and NOx, nitrogen oxide. Okay, in automotive sources, air pollutions are engine, as we had already discussion about this, that is the what are the sources or the components through which the pollutants are going to be released in an automobile are crankcase, okay, air cleaner or carburetor, fuel tank, and tailpipe. Tailpipe is nothing but this is an exhaust pipe. So pollutants from each of these sources are controlled by emission control devices like crankcase emission control systems, evaporative emission control systems, exhaust emission control systems. The methods used to reduce amount of pollutants in the exhaust gas are controlling gasoline quality. There will be another method how best we can control the pollutants by controlling the gasoline quality, controlling the air fuel mixture, controlling the combustion process, treating the exhaust gas, and finally when the exhaust is going to come out, that can be also treated, and then treated exhaust gas can be released into the atmosphere with the reduction of the pollutants in the burnt gases. Okay, right. So first will be controlling gasoline quality. The characteristics of gasoline can be improved by adding some additives during refining. These additives you come across, okay, so to improve the quality of gasoline, we are going to add some substances that we call it additives. In case of foundry forging, you will come across this particular term. Okay, foundry, where we are going to add some additives in the molding sand. Okay, right. So a good quality gasoline possesses following characteristics. What are the characteristics of good gasoline? Is like the proper volatility, that is this property indicates how easily the gasoline is converted into vapor. So this property is going to indicate how best the gasoline is going to be converted into a vapor, that we call it as a proper volatility. Resistance to detonation or spark knock. Okay, there will be should be some resistance to detonation. Oxidation inhibitors avoids gumming tendency in the fuel system. It would not stick, okay, right, that we call it as gumming tendency. Anti-rust and antifreezers, okay, to prevent rusting of components in fuel system and avoids blocking of fuel lines, okay. It should not get freezed or it should not generate some corrosion type of things, okay, rust, okay. Detergents to clean carburetor and fuel injector. It should not act as a detergent, okay. It should act as a detergent so that the cleaning of the carburetor and fuel injectors takes place automatically. Dyes gives color for identification. For identification, it should have some color, okay, right. So next will be controlling the air fuel mixture. That is, the controlling the air fuel mixture is nothing but modifying the fuel system or carburetor to deliver leaner air fuel mixture, and second will be faster warm up and quicker choke action. The ideal fuel mixture will be 14.7:1, okay. Next will be required for complete combustion of fuel is called stoichiometric air fuel ratio, okay. This is the ideal air fuel ratio, that is 14.7:1. If this air fuel ratio is lower, say 14:1, it means there is excess fuel for available oxygen. If it is higher, say 16:1, it means there is an excess of oxygen. As engines operates mostly at part throttle, the ACM maintain air fuel ratio at stoichiometric ratio during part throttling. The engine performance is better at ideal air fuel mixture, that is 14.7:1, and produces minimum exhaust emissions. The amount of oxygen in the exhaust gas is indicated by oxygen sensor, which sends signals to ACM, okay. This shows leanness or richness of air fuel mixture. Then the ACM adjusts the richness of the mixture, okay. So faster engine warm up and quicker choke opening decreases exhaust emissions during warm up, okay. If carburetor fuel supply system supplies cold air fuel mixture, only a part of fuel will vaporize. This makes air fuel mixture lean and extra rich mixture is required. Therefore, when the engine is cold, thermostatically controlled air cleaner is used to supply heated air quickly to the carburetor. This you might have experienced in the winter or rainy season. Your vehicle will not start immediately. Because of that, you will hold the choke, okay, right. Therefore, when the engine is cold, thermostatically controlled air cleaner is used to supply heated air quickly. Thermostatic air cleaner is shown in figure 9.5 to the carburetor. During cold running, air entering carburetor is heated by thermostatic air cleaner, which allows engine to run on a leaner air fuel mixture during warm up. The thermostatic air cleaner consists of a temperature sensing spring which senses temperature of air entering the air cleaner, okay. There will be temperature sensing spring will be there, okay, which is going to sense the temperature of air entering into the air cleaner. The air bleed valve is closed when air is cold, okay. When air is cold, it is not going to allow the air to enter into the air cleaner, okay, right. And this supplies intake manifold vacuum to the vacuum motor. The diaphragm and hence the control damper assembly moves up due to atmospheric pressure, and thus knocks the snorkel tube. Okay, this you please for okay figure 9.5. Okay, the diaphragm hence the control the damper assembly moves up due to atmospheric pressure and thus blocks the snorkel tube. This allows all the air to enter through the hot air pipe, which is laid near to the exhaust manifold. When the engine starts, uh, the exhaust manifold heats up quickly and hence allows heated air to enter into the air cleaner. This heated air helps to vaporize the fuel delivered by carburetor or fuel injectors, which in turn improves the cold engine performance. This is how, when we hold the choke, this is how it is going to work. Next will be controlling combustion process. Okay, so combustion in the engine cylinder is complicated phenomenon. The factors which affect the combustion process are the combustion engine cylinder is a complicated phenomenon. The factors which affect the combustion process are the air fuel mixture near to the cool cylinder wall, cylinder head, top piston ring, and the piston head do not burn. So, which are the area from where the pollutants are going to release means the air fuel mixture near to the cool cylinder wall. Okay, if cylinder was a little bit cool, cylinder head, top piston ring, piston head, okay, skirt, no, piston head do not burn. These are the areas where the air fuel mixture is not going to burn. The metal surfaces cools these layers below the combustion point. So therefore, during the exhaust stroke, this unburned mixture is swept out of the cylinder. So during exhaust stroke, this all this unburned fuel mixture is going to come out from the exhaust pipe. This adds polluting HC, that is hydrocarbon, to the atmosphere. This problem is rectified by introducing stratified stratified charge in the engine cylinder or by fuel injection method. The other method is providing lesser surface area around the combustion chamber. One is by introducing stratified charge in the engine cylinder, or by the fuel injection method, or the other method is providing the lesser surface area around the combustion chamber. Hemispherical combustion chamber has less surface area and releases less unburned HC into the exhaust. Okay, this we have discussed the shape of the piston and all that time we had discussed. Hemispherical combustion chamber is going to release less, it is going to provide less surface area and releases the less unburned HC2 into the exhaust. Okay, the increase in the combustion, the second point will be the increase in combustion temperature results in better combustion in fuel and reduces unburned HC and CO emission in the exhaust. So the increase in the combustion temperature, if the temperature is also more, it is going to result in better combustion in the fuel and reduces the unburned SC and carbon monoxide emissions in the exhaust. So the temperature should be more, but this results in formation of more nitrogen oxide. Okay, even if too much temperature is there, then it is going to release NOx and add pollutants to the atmosphere. The third point will be during part throttling, vacuum advance provided in the ignition distributor gives the air fuel mixture a longer time to burn Under certain operating conditions, this also results in formation of more nitrogen oxide. The devices used to prevent vacuum advance are there will be devices which can be used for to prevent the vacuum advance. That is one is transmission controlled spark, that is TCS, or transmission regulated spark, TRS system. It delays the vacuum advance when the transmission is in neutral, reverse and low power forward gears. Second point will be spark delay valve, SDV. It prevents vacuum advance during certain conditions of vehicle acceleration. The fourth point will be the carbon deposits present in the combustion chamber absorb. Carbon deposits present in the combustion chamber absorb carbon deposits present in the combustion chamber absorb air fuel mixture, and during the exhaust releases air fuel mixture. In the SC, in the exhaust gas add pollutants to the atmosphere. These are the four areas through which the controlling of combustion process can be carried out. So next will be exhaust gas recirculation. This is very important. Right, we are going to discuss about this EGR system. This will have in the next class we'll have the discussion about this. The EGR is very important from the examination point of view. From the internal as well as from the VTU examination point of view, the exhaust gas recirculation system is going to play, that we call it as a EGR system, which is going to be a very important discussion in this the pollution control systems, as well as this crankcase redesign and all the other things whatever we have discussed. They are also going to play a very important role. This model is very small, so all the content is also very important. In next class we'll have the discussion about this. I also expect or hope that you have started writing the assignments. All 4 assignments must be completed right now. When we complete this module 5, immediately you start writing the module 5 assignments also, as we had already I already messaged you and I texted you, and now I am also reminding you that. So please write the assignments to get full marks for the full marks allocated for your assignments. So please write it. And we have already discussed during in class that write any 5 questions, only 5 questions for each module. That is sufficient. So select the most probable questions for your IA as well as VTU, write them as a assignment questions. And very like in the beginning itself I have shared the module wise question bank. So please refer that and select any 5 questions out of the given assignments questions for each module, and please write any 5 questions. Right, is it okay? Right, by tomorrow we'll finish this module. Hardly very little bit of things left. This exhaust gas recirculation, that is EGR, is very important. That is why we are going to discuss about this in the next class. Right, so if you are facing any difficulties, you are most welcome to ask me at any time and about get cleared about your doubts. Start preparing. Right, so college when it get reopens, you need to write immediately IA1, IA2, IA3, as well as you need to submit all the hard copies of your assignments. And right now you submit the soft copies of your assignments. Scan the assignments which you have written, submit it to me. Right, so is it clear? Right, thank you very much.